Hi everyone, my name is Alycia Walty and I am a pediatrician for Star Wellness Kids Care. I work at all three of the Kids Care sites, so Easton, Allentown, and Bethlehem. And I'm the Chief Medical Officer for Star Wellness. So we are a group of offices that provide family medicine, internal medicine, pediatrics, OBGYN, and dental care to our communities in Easton and Bethlehem and Allentown. And I wanted to talk to you all a little bit today about how to talk to your kids about COVID and the current situation going on with the pandemic, and also kind of some suggestions in terms of things that we can do to keep them healthier, follow a better lifestyle and diet, and get some exercise while we're all kind of stuck at home. And initially the plan was that I was going to kind of do a walk with the doc and walk while I was talking, but I am by no means coordinated enough to do that. So we are just going to hold the camera steady and hope that no fire trucks go by or lawn mowers go off while I'm here. I am outside, so hopefully that gives me at least a little bit of credit. And if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out, and we're happy to talk to you about anything that we can do to help keep your kids and your family safe and active in this time. So we're going to break it down a little bit by age group and talk about little changes and subtle differences in how different ages respond to stress and to traumas, to see if you can come up with a better and more creative way to talk to your kids about COVID and about the different things that they're seeing on TV, hearing on the radio, and really witnessing in their own families, as well as the changes that they're undergoing in their own life. So toddlers, as you may know about, so kids that are about 1.5 years to about 3 years old, live and die by routine. So kids love to be extremely boring, and they like to do the same things at the same time every day. And that's what lets them know how they can be successful in life, and that's how they get a good sense of confidence and pride. So you want to try to stick to your routine, even though routine has kind of gone out the window in the last few months, and do the same thing as much as you can at the same time every day. That's what's going to give them comfort, and that's what's going to give them some reassurance during some fairly chaotic times. Answer the questions that they ask of you. So kids will ask very simple questions. Who is sick? What's going on? Where is grandma? How come I can't go to school? And things like that. Don't offer them any more information than what they already ask. And when they seem like they're satisfied with your answer, they're going to move on. I can also tell you, even just from experience, my own toddler will say things like, when is the sickness going away? How come you're at work so much? They ask very simple and very straightforward questions, and then he wants to watch Paw Patrol and move on. So again, offer them the information that they ask for. Don't get too in-depth. Look to see what every toddler is ready for developmentally. Some are a little bit more intuitive than others and may ask more in-depth questions. And be aware of your own emotions. If your hours have changed, if you're home more or home less than they typically are, if you're very stressful or anxious or grieving the loss of a loved one or worrying about an illness in a loved one, they're going to pick up on that, and they're very sensitive. And again, the most important thing that you can offer them is that reassurance. Children that are a little bit older, so kind of middle-ish age kids, you want to try to limit their exposure to social media and to the news if you're not there watching it and digesting it with them, because they're going to have a lot of questions, and there's going to be a lot of phrasing that they may not necessarily understand. So be present with them if you do choose to watch some social media, some YouTube content, things like that, or even the news, and try to find some age-appropriate resources for them. Nickelodeon and CNN did a very, very good and well-prepared, age-appropriate and developmentally appropriate dialogue for kids about COVID. Nickelodeon has a lot of resources, as does the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Academy of Family Practitioners. PBS also has a lot of content. And if you go online, you can find a lot of children's TV programming that has also been adapted for COVID, where, for example, the kids are wearing masks, or they're asking those age-appropriate questions. And that may be helpful for you in that discussion as well. For older kids, they are probably smarter than you think they are, and have probably already looked at that social media and have probably already watched that news and may not have discussed it with you. So you really, again, want to provide reassurance about what they can do to help and what they can do to contribute. Kids in that age group like to be those role models, and they like to have a job, and they like to have a role. Make them feel useful, and perhaps discuss with them things that they can do to either help in the family or help with a neighbor or help in their local community. Identify other positive role models that they may be able to identify with, and really try to seek out those more reassuring factors that will give them a sense of safety. Safety is really going to be their number one concern. They may not be able to express it, and they may not be able to discuss it with you as clearly as you may like, but safety and that calm and reassurance that they're going to be okay and their family and friends are going to be okay is usually what's in the back of their mind, and usually what drives some of those attention-seeking behaviors that you may see coming out a little bit during this stressful time. Make sure that they have time to grieve their losses. And when I say grieve their losses, your definition and their definition of a loss may not be the same thing. They are grieving the loss of the time that they spend with their friends. They're grieving the loss of the end of their school year and some of those activities. For kids that were juniors and seniors in high school, they've lost the opportunity to go to their prom, have their end of year activities and their graduations. Even for kids that were moving from one school to the next, there's going to be insecurity about, I'm starting a new school and I haven't taken a tour of that. This is the first year I'm doing that. And a lot of the end of the year activities in school and in after school activities really are structured and something that they see and look forward to every year and assign an importance to that you may not have. So make sure that you're identifying what it is that they feel that they've lost and that they've missed out on. And a lot of that may very well be social and sports and a lot of after school activities, so their school and their dance. At the same time all this is going on, you still want to make sure that they're healthy. Obviously, you're going to want to try to follow the same guidelines that we recommend under any circumstances. So a quick and kind of easy way to remember doing that is 5210. And this is a program that the American Academy of Pediatrics had put out several years ago and has been modified kind of along the way. But it's kind of a quick and dirty way to make sure that your kids are getting at least the minimum nutrition and exercise requirements that are recommended. And it's very easily adaptable for different age groups. So it's something that you can kind of focus and personalize for your own kids. So again, the recommendations were 5210. 5 is how many times a day you want your kids to be having a serving of fruit and vegetables. So the advice that we give isn't really to not have any particular type of food group, or we're never saying no candy, no cake, no soda, no juices, but we want them to try to be filling their plate with 4 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, which would then minimize how many times a day they're having servings of starchy things like potatoes and rice and the things that don't have as much of a nutritional benefit. So that's your 5. Year 2 is how many hours a day we recommend for screen time every day. This doesn't include academic activities, so at least most of the school year has ended, but at least during the virtual year, if your kids are spending several hours a day seated and watching internet content and Schoology content and all the different virtual learning, that doesn't count. What we're talking about is time in front of video games, social medias, tablets, TVs, computers, things like that. Now you can choose how you want to break up that 2 hours. You can do 2 hours at a time if everybody wants to sit together and watch a movie. If you want to do a half an hour at a time on an iPad, usually that's a little bit more appropriate for younger kids, but usually what we try to say is after 2 hours you're going to pull the plug. I will be the first to admit that the 2 hours a day during this pandemic has gone completely out the window in my house, but we're going to try to get it back, at least now that it's summer and the kids can go outside and play just a little bit. Don't hold yourself too accountable for any of these rules. These are suggestions and you're going to need to modify them to make it work in your family. If it's working in your family, it's working, and that's what you need to remember. The 1 is 1 hour a day of good sweaty exercise, so 60 minutes. Again, you modify that. Older kids will have an attention span and will be able to participate in organized sports or an activity for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Younger kids are going to want to break that up. It doesn't need to be an organized sport. It's anything that's going to get them up and active and sweating, and that's really what they need. We need to raise their heart rate, and they should be able to be kind of expressing a little bit of difficulty with their breathing, not really having a conversation at the same time. Be creative. It doesn't necessarily need to be outside. You can do this inside. There is a ton of internet and social media content that you can use to help guide you. Several of the fitness at home apps are offering free trials during the pandemic, or 60 or 90-day free memberships. I would highly suggest that you look into some of those. They have programs designed specifically for younger kids that you can put on your phone, that you can put on your laptop, that you can put on your iPad, and the family can participate, whether it's organized dancing, whether it's aerobics, whether it's stretching, all kinds of really fun activities in small, really doable and achievable chunks of time, so 10 minutes and 20 minutes. And the 0 is the only thing that we draw a hard line for, and that's sugary drinks. So we really need them to not be consuming the sugary stuff, so regular soda, regular Gatorade, Powerade, regular juices. You really want to make that more of a treat. Your kid has 1 Gatorade in the afternoon and they're probably having just as many calories as they should have consumed for an entire meal. So it's kind of a quick and dirty. That's the only one that we don't actually tell you to do any of. If you do have any questions, please reach out to your family doctor, to your pediatrician. We're happy to help guide you through these times, and we know that kids are processing all these changes and challenges in a really different way, in a different way than adults do, and that can be challenging for an adult who's also trying to process it at the same time. So please reach out. We're happy to help. Call us. We are ready, we are open, and we are available, and we'll do whatever we can to help and support you through these times. So be well and take good care of yourselves and your families. Thanks.